In the Hungry Jacks NBL, the North Melbourne Giants against the Melbourne Tigers. The Giants bounced back from 3 defeats in a row to hit some scoring form last week against the Southern Saints. The Giants are a powerhouse in the league and unaccustomed to being back in 4th place. The Tigers are the highest scoring team in the NBL, riding on the hot hand of Andrew Gaze, but they can be stopped as they were last week by the Perth Wildcats. From the Glasshouse in Melbourne, exclusive to 7 Sport. Well, again, the Glasshouse is the place to be, with 4 of the top 6 teams in the NBL being Victorian-based clubs. So there's going to be plenty of Glasshouse action in the next month in the run-up to the playoffs. And once again, we have a full house for this game tonight between 4th and 5th place on the ladder. Bill Palmer, well, we had a spectacular game here last week, and the same looks in store again this time.
I think that's true. Traditional rivals. In fact, it's interesting, over the next 3 or 4 weeks, all the Melbourne teams that are in the vying for the 6 play each other. Melbourne plays East Side, and North Melbourne, East Side plays them, and Melbourne also has to play those 2, and Geelong. So I think we can expect plenty more full houses here at the Glasshouse and down in Geelong until the finals begin.
When these teams last met in week 6, the Giants had a victory 134 to 118. They blew the Tigers away early, despite Scott Fisher having a quiet night with 18. Andrew Gaze finished with 43, but for the most part, he was pretty well held by Mark Leader. Let's take a look at the North Melbourne lineup as they warm up and see Selection back after a couple of games out through injury.
This is going to be very important. The backcourt, Marty Clark, Mark Leader contending, particularly with Andrew Gaze. Be interesting, of course, to see who picks him up. North Melbourne may play a lot of zone. Great front line for the Giants, Maley, Fisher, and Big Ray Borner. I think the very important thing for the Giants are 2 factors: getting good points from Pat Reedy off the bench, and probably getting 10 to 15 minutes from C Selection. Even though he's got knees made of crackers, they need to get his input for a time in this game so they can rest some of their starters.
So they're the North Melbourne Giants. Let's take a look at the Melbourne Tigers. And of course, so much depends on Andrew Gaze, but Colbert and Simmons up front will be a big danger.
Well, against that, in that dramatic game last week against Perth, Ray Gordon was an X factor. He chipped in for 19 points from memory. So that's very important. He and Whitehead produced. But I think the key there with Gordon and Gaze, the backcourt, Giddy, he's not a scorer for him. Colbert and Simmons have to be scorers. Simmons has got to be very active around the basket, try and force the ball at Ray Borner. And the other point out there I think that we want to mention is that Simmons has got to be active. They've also got to get points from those other guys. Gordon will have to get in double figures, or Whitehead, one of them, I think, in order to be able to shoot enough points to beat the Giants.
What a game it should be. 4th against 5th in the NBL. Actually, last time they met, the Tigers were on top, so they've had a bit of a tumble down to 5th. They really need this one against the 4th place Giants. We'll be back for the tip-off after a short. Tigers ball from the side. Colbert feet on the line, short with that shot. Maley's there for the Giants. Giants lead it by 2, 6.5 minutes to quarter time. Paul Maley. Oh, Simmons lost it back to Maley. 13-9. Oh, Gaze cut that one out beautifully. Colbert.
The Tigers don't half know when Andrew Gaze is going to go back door. Colbert misses it. Simmons tries a flying slam on the rebound. Gets a lot of iron, but no net. Fast break situation for the Giants. Fisher hits a 3. 7 points to Scott Fisher, leading scorer in the game at the moment. 5 minutes and 40 seconds remaining to play before the end of the first quarter.
Well, the Tigers got the first 2 baskets and led 4-0. This one was tipped in by Gordon. But, geez, the Giants have had a rush since then. It's 16-11, the Giants. Borner to Leader, who got away from Gaze. Leader makes the 2.
Well, that was a defensive breakdown for the Tigers that time. Gaze did the right thing, stopping the pass getting in the easy route by playing in front of his man, but he didn't get the rotation help behind.
Colbert shot, no. Gaze's shot, no. Giddy does well, but then loses it to Clark. Clark one out with Giddy, puts it back over his head.
Marty Clark just putting his head down. There's Giddy leaping at him. Clark cleverly used used the ring to defend the ball. Instead of going straight up for the layup, he made a reverse layup, went under the ring, threw it back up through, and that ring and the net guarded the ball from the outstretched hands of Giddy.
Giants by 10. Bit of a blowout at the moment, 21-11. Just under 5 minutes to quarter time. Colbert to Simmons. The muscle inside.
They have to make a target of Simmons inside. They have to have that point-blank game, and that'll start complementing their outside game. Without the inside game, the Giants can really gamble on defense and double team up on the ball.
Shooting poorly. Leader's ball out to Fisher. Knocked away by Colbert, so it's a Giants ball.
There's Simmons late getting there on Fisher, tries that play away. Colbert helps out his front court mate. Now Gaze into the open court. Plenty of gold shirts back. Gaze tries a three. That's his second attempt. That also falls short. Bailey now, 4-on-3 possibilities. Bailey stops the prop, misses a 17-footer. Simmons holding off Borner with one hand, tries to grab it with his other hand, and in the meantime, Fisher knocks it out of bounds. Who's Palmer saying somebody was grabbing somebody? And I don't think he was accusing a Giant of fouling out there.
Very good. Across he comes to Giddy. And now Gaze, that time clean as a whistle. But it's 21-13. Giants have stolen a march on the Tigers early. Maley, top shot for two.
4 points now to Maley. So the scoreline for the Giants, leader with 5, Clark 3, Borner 4, Maley 4, Fisher 7. All 5 starters in the scoring column for the Be Your Best Giants. Colbert, boy, he levered his way past Borner and then flipped in a little runner.
Stephen Whitehead into the play for the Tigers. Maley goes behind his back. Whitehead gets the block shot. The youngster just back from the Youth World Championships. Gaze got around Clark. Back to Colbert. He goes for 3. Nails that one.
8 points now to Colbert.
5 the difference after it had been 10.
Simmons got caught with a foul that time as Fisher tried a little 13-footer. Simmons, his second foul. So it continues to be an interesting matchup there. How long can you afford to rest your #1 center player on their strike forward? Certainly if Simmons picks up another foul in this quarter, particularly with 2 already, you'd have to think they'd make a change there. But Simmons does have the quicks to match with Fisher and the strength, and there's not many players that can make that claim. But so far, I think Fisher's had the best of their very limited battle.
Nigel Purchase has checked in for the Tigers, replacing Gordon. 23-18, Giants leading. Scott Fisher at the line.
Fisher now with 8 points, leading scorer in the game, along with Dave Colbert for the Tigers. But now he becomes the lone leading scorer with 9. Giants playing in front, 25-18. They can really dictate the tempo out there. They're very good at that, North Melbourne. All Bruce Palmer's teams have the ability to force the tempo that they want. Andrews, Gaze, spin, juking and jiving and putting one in off the glass. He just seems to have that ability to weave through players and put the ball up where nobody can get a hand on it.
Whitehead doing well in defense again. Purchase to Gaze. Gaze comes back to Whitehead. He can shoot 3-pointers, Stephen Whitehead. Gaze can, but hasn't hit one tonight. And misses with a 2-point attempt. It's Fisher. Giants lead by 5 points. 2.5 minutes to quarter time. Leader tried to deflect the ball across to a teammate. Simmons got it to Gaze.
Both teams just trying a little bit too much with their passing. That time Leader tried the cute pass and it came unstuck. Gaze also tried a very difficult pass. He was cut off as he tried to drive to the basket. Really wasn't on balance to throw that pass. But Melbourne gets it back.
Giants still with their starting 5 on court. Tigers have made 2 changes. Whitehead, a long look at that. And nails it.
He did have a long look at it. He measured it up, pulled his foot back of the three-point arc, and that's a second really good pass received from David Colbert. He threaded the needle with a bounce pass right through the Giant defense. Not an easy thing to do, and found Whitehead all on his lonesome out by the three-point arc.
So the Tigers have got it back to a 2-point game after they trailed by 10. Pat Reedy into the play. Clark, corner moving in the paint. Back outside to Fisher. Double teamed and fouled against Simmons.
That's his third one. That was the danger I was talking about earlier. Now you've got your leading center with 3 fouls. We aren't even to the end of the first quarter. There's a minute and 50 seconds remaining to play. He's got to be rested. Steve Lenardon coming in. And we'll see what happens when Simmons comes back in the second quarter, who his defensive assignment becomes. So it will be interesting to see whether it's Lenardon goes on Fisher or whether Melbourne decides they better go back into his own defense. Fisher, first player in double figures now. He's got 10. 2 leading scorers for the Tigers are Gaze and Colbert with 8 apiece.
Scott Fisher in good form. He got 37 last week against the Southern Saints. Purchase. 1 minute 45 left to quarter time. Now Andrew Gaze. Back to Lenardon. Whitehead's done some spectacular things at both ends. Good pass. Lenardon off the glass.
Well, there's a good sub. Put him in. First time he touches the ball, he scores. Let's see, he's picking up Borner, so pick up the matchups now. As Colbert gets the attempt on Fisher. Fisher tries a long three. Colbert may have even got a finger to that. It certainly fell about a foot short of the basket.
Chance for the Tigers to level the score on this play. They trail by 2. But in the hands of Whitehead, they could lead after this play. Colbert for 3. No. Clark. Under a minute left to quarter time. Scott Fisher.
Fisher, 13 points in the first quarter. Boy, he is on fire. I think that he's got the smell of finals in his nostrils, and a superstar like he is, that's the sort of sniff that he needs. Gaze dishes one back to Lenardon, misses one. Body spilling everywhere. Referees finally call a foul in there. I think it's called on Andrew Gaze. Very hard to see what was going on from our vantage point where we're sitting. But it looked to me like Steve Lenardon probably could have balanced up and perhaps put that in. But now we see Gaze picking up his second foul. And because of the penalty situation, Tigers with 8 fouls in the quarter, Ray Borner will get a 1-and-1 chance.
Took a while, but in it went.
Ray Borner really has good shooting form in his arm and his follow-through. 6 points, taking a rest. Paul Bailey back in. No rest for the Tigers, that's for sure, in that substitution. Now with the smaller lineup going with essentially 3 forwards and 2 guards, not really a true center player in the Giant lineup.
Colbert for the Tigers. And Colbert again, but that ball's out. So they've turned it over. It's a 6-point game. Giants lead. 16.9 seconds left to quarter time.
Great play by Mark Leader down there. He really saved that basket. And gets a reward as a rest for the last 10 seconds of the quarter. 5 seconds.
To get something away. Reedy outside the 3, dispossessed by Colbert. But that ball out with 0.2 of a second left.
Well, they've probably squandered an attempt. That's something that wouldn't please Coach Bruce Palmer, not even getting a shot there. Although as it ended up, Marty Clark got one and it nearly went in. At quarter time, we see the Giants leading the Tigers 31-25.
Well, going into the second quarter, a 6-point lead to the Giants. Fisher has 13. Borner 6. Leader has 5. For the Tigers, Gaze and Colbert each have 8 points, but Dave Simmons with 3 fouls in that first period. But he's back out there at the start of the second.
Andrew Gaze also with 2, so the Tigers in a moderate amount of foul trouble very early on in the game.
Purchase. Nothing doing there. Well, Colbert did well to drag that in.
Spotted the isolation. Nigel Purchase, it wasn't the world's best pass into Colbert, but he did spot that Colbert had been picked up by little Andrew Simons. And that is a true mismatch. Colbert wasn't going to have much difficulty once he did get a hold of the ball going up over the top, and Simmons really had no choice but to foul him.
At one stage in the first period, the Giants got out to a 10-point lead. That's back to a 4-point game. We have a Simons and a Simmons on the court at the moment. Clark takes it back out.
Simmons left on Fisher too, so we'll have to watch that matchup, although they're switching a lot now. It's very hard. That's his primary assessment. Colbert pitches that one. Again matched up against Simmons. Simmons must think the world's avalanching down on him. Every time he looks up, Colbert's got the ball in his hand, and he's supposed to guard him.
Andrew Simons gets it away to Clark.
Simmons is picking up Fisher. Oh, that is a matchup that the Giants would be wanting to work on, that possibility of getting David Simmons on another foul.
Reedy. Pat Reedy into the paint, out to Maley. Travel, said Dave Colbert, but nothing doing. 33-29.
It was well disguised because I didn't see it if it was.
Nigel Purchase fumbled that one, might have taken one round the ribs as well.
And losing the ball, then lost his balance, and to really add insult to injury, he then has picked up a foul. Mark Leader taking the point guard position. That's him raising one finger. He's calling the play that he wants to run. Fisher now, Purchase picked him up this time down the floor. Fisher using his bulk to shed Purchase out of the passing lane, and then had no problem hitting the 10-footer. Fisher now 15 points in the game, 10 minutes before the halftime break.
Stephen Whitehead back to Colbert. Big Dave Simmons have to watch the foul trouble for the remainder of the game. Purchase into Gaze.
He does that so quickly and easily. Andrew Gaze leading towards the ball. Mark Leader turned his head to look at the ball, and that fraction of a second, we can't see the lead up to that movement that Gaze has away from the ball. But as soon as Leader turned his head, Gaze went right to the basket. Boy, his teammates are alert to that move. So he brought up his 10th point with that basket and makes it 11.
35-32. Giants lead. Good movement, Fisher. Reedy balks Purchase. Colbert. And now the Tigers can get right back into this.
Oh,
Purchase lost it.
That was a very hefty hack on Nigel Purchase. Purchase very hard pressed holding on to that when somebody's giving you a karate chop on the forearm.
Having some trouble in the last minutes. Nigel Purchase. Whitehead. Well, the future's looking pretty good for Australian basketball with the likes of Reedy and Whitehead. Two opponents out here tonight who are on the Australian youth team. Here's Pat Reedy. Foot on the line.
Good catch, but was on the line. Fisher with 15, leading scorer in the game. The second top scorer is on the other side, and that's Dave Colbert with 12. Andrew Gaze has 11. Those are the three players in double figures so far. Oh, that's a long shot from Andrew Gaze. He stopped, he looked at the floor, where am I? Sized it up. Mark Leader was somewhat bemused, and Gaze buries the three.
Pretty hard to defend that. Pat Reedy. Great right-hand hook shot. 39-37.
Reedy made a lot of fakes. Just the defense was just off balance by Reedy's head fakes and ball fakes. And really, by the time Reedy finally started his shot, the defense had run out of springs.
Well, they'd know each other's play, wouldn't they? Whitehead and Reedy. Gaze for another three. Well, the Tigers got level with these last three. They couldn't go to the lead with that one. Leader. Gaze steals it.
Well, Leader complaining that he was hacked on the way through, and that's why he lost the ball. And then again, insult to injury, he's fouled as he comes down, or he fouls as he comes down.
39-37, Giants in front. Under 8 minutes to go to half-time. Colbert. Now Fisher for the Giants. Great run. Oh, the assist was there, but Clark missed the basket. Here goes Whitehead going the other way. Tried the bounce ball to Simmons.
Waited too late. Simmons perhaps should have jagged into the basket to try and go for the lay. And Dave Simmons got to get actively offensively in the game. He hasn't scored yet. And Melbourne needs another line of attack. They're going to the same well every time. Colbert can't find it. Leader with the rebound into the open court. Defense back, so Leader stops at the foul line and puts up a little corkscrew jump shot. Thought he wasn't quite aligned on that one, but the Giants get it back.
Warner goes for a three. Gee, what's happening here, Bill?
That's exactly what Bruce Palmer was saying, I'm sure. Gaze through 4 Giants and gets to the basket. Bringing up his 16th point. It is amazing how he does that. He's all arms and legs as he comes spilling through the key. And look at that. There's 1, 2, 3. They're still worried. There's another hack of the ball. He's gone by. All 5 Giants have had a shot at Andrew Gaze. Somehow he got to the basket.
So it was a great play by Gaze. Just leveled the scores again. He leveled it the last time he made that three-pointer.
Simmons picked up that foul, called for a holding foul. Referee Eddie Crouch saying that he had a handful of singlets, so Dave Simmons, no points and 4 fouls. That's not the sort of score call that they'd like to see on the scoring sheet from their big center.
Well, obviously the Fisher factor is a worry to the Melbourne Tigers.
Well, they have changed now. Reedy has his shot blocked. Smothered is a better word from it, behind by Gaze, but again they get the ball back, so getting opportunities, the Giants, from second shots, picking up loose balls. That's a charging foul. Straight up and down into the chest of Giddy. Giddy is bowled over. First foul on Borner. 4th team foul now on the Giants, so they go into the penalty situation with over half a quarter remaining before halftime.
Chance for the Tigers to hit the front from this play. For the first time since the early minutes. Simmons for his first points. Nothing will go.
It's not really where Lindsay Gaze wants him to be scoring from either. He wants to assert himself around the basket. In the meantime, Leader with a 3-point attempt. Yes. 10 points now to Mark Leader, becoming the second Giant. Leader is a good 3-pointer. The defense left him low. Leader averaging 15 points, 12 points a game this year. Nearly has his quota now.
Under 6 minutes to go to halftime.
Simmons using a lot of weight to get open, and then to call a charge. Oh, that was a brave call. Potentially looking at Simmons' 5th, but Borner is the one that's whistled at the foul. We've got a timeout at the Glasshouse. 5 minutes and 50 seconds remaining before the half. And the scores show the Giants 42 and the Tigers 39.
Dave Simmons was fouled, and he goes to the line, still looking for his first points. We're over halfway through the second quarter.
Lindsay Gaze leaning well back into his chair on that. That was a very close call between Simmons. Simmons using a lot of body weight on Borner, and perhaps was lucky to get away with some heavy contact under the basket.
Del Zoppo for the Giants. Back to Pat Reedy.
You see the Tigers in the zone. That's to protect Dave Simmons. Simmons will just guard the floor area around the key. Not as difficult guarding, although he risks it again. Every time he comes behind, as he did that time, he risks getting called with a pushing foul behind, gets away with it that time, and comes up with the steal.
Giants by 2. 5 1/4 minutes to halftime. Giddy. Blocked by Fisher, and Fisher gets it out.
Del Zoppo picking up the foul. Great hustle that time by Giddy, who had his shot blocked by Fisher, dove after it, spilling around on the floor on his hands and knees, and found the pass inside to Dave Simmons. And the only reason that was stopped was because Simmons was fouled.
Well, they can level the scores here again.
2 points down for Simmons. The bulk of his scoring, 28 points in the total, coming from Colbert with 12 and Gaze with 16.
Leader into Fisher. Plenty of pressure for Scott Fisher. Giants fans screaming for a foul there.
And eventually it's called against Warwick Giddy. And that's his 3rd foul, so the Tigers are getting into foul trouble. Giddy with 3 and Simmons with 4. Gaze has 2, and then after that there's only 1 foul, and that's on Purchase. Colbert now inside to Borner. Yes. So the key to the zone has been found early on by the North Melbourne. Good ball movement and pushing it inside.
Colbert thought about the pass, then goes for the 3.
It was almost as if he ran out of ideas of what to do and said, what the hell? Oh, but gee, and paid the rewards for him. A 3-pointer. 15 points now to Colbert. Double team in the corner. Borner cross-courts the ball along the baseline. Difficult pass. Leader. Mark Leader has found his shooting touch the latter part of this season. He is quite a deadly 3-point shooter now. Before you'd give him those shots. Colbert tit for tat with a 3 in answer to Leaders.
Well,
Dave Colbert with 18.
Well, for a team who was down by 10 during the first quarter, it's been some sort of a comeback here by the Tigers. 48-47 they lead.
Tigers staying in that zone. Giants have tried to break it from the middle before. Borner loses the ball. Gordon is tapped it away from him, but Simmons throws it away. Leader now 3-on-2. A good defense by Giddy to get his foot on that, because Ray Borner was steaming it down the outside wing and would have had a layup.
Oh, fancy. Simmons getting the steal and then giving the pass away. Should have seen the face on Lindsay Gaze.
Been a few of those facial grimaces so far. Again, breaking the zone from the middle. Borner can't find it. That's obviously the route of attack that the Giants are going to use against Melbourne when they are in that zone alignment.
Giddy. Colbert right in front. Goes for another 3. Corner back there for the Giants. Leader. Colbert gets there, but the ball out on the half.
Sub into the game now. Cecil Exum giving Scott Fisher a rest with 3 minutes and 12 seconds to go before halftime. So backcourt now for the Giants, Del Zoppo and Leader, while the front court, Exum, Borner, and Maley as they line up against the Tiger zone. Cecil Exum working the baseline here. Good ball, side-to-side movement with the ball. Maley with 1 power dribble into a 17-foot shot. Pretty easy so far. It seems that the Giants haven't had much difficulty in finding shots. The question is whether they can hit them or not.
Giants by a point. Under 3 minutes to halftime. Huge crowd here at the Glasshouse in Melbourne. Whitehead. Gaze gets past a couple. Tigers back in front as they bring up the half-century.
Gaze brings up his 18-point. That was a really good shot under a lot of pressure. He virtually leapt sideways. Borner with a nice 10-foot turnaround jump shot. Borner with 10. He becomes the third Giant in double figures. Gaze with a 3.
A huge 3 by Andrew Gaze.
21 now to Andrew Gaze. Pretty good halftime effort.
Not bad.
2 minutes to go before halftime. We got 21 in the bag. Ball movement again, very good by the Giants, but did not handle cleanly. Borner slips one into Exum, but he can't find it. Looked like he was impeded by Whitehead, and queries the referee on that. I'd have to agree. Whitehead had him in the manacles that time. The end result is, though, that he loses the ball and picks up the foul. Simmons getting the rest. Obviously, Gaze not wanting to risk him picking up his 5th foul before halftime. Scores now 51 to the Giants, 53 to the Tigers, with Ray Gordon on the line shooting 1 and 1. Oh, that's lucky to draw iron. Tigers might get it back, and they do. Ray Gordon never looked like he was quite aligned on that shot at all. Out of his hand, it was going nowhere near the middle of the ring. Instructions everywhere, Drew, and Andrew Gaze and Ray Gordon trying to set up the offensive move.
Colbert stalked by Maley. Dave Colbert for 3. Too strong on that one. Maley with the rebound. Against Colbert.
That's a tough call on Dave Colbert. I think that it looked to me like he's established defensive position. There it is. He's moving. There's the contact. The only decision could possibly be that Colbert, rather than sliding with the man, has moved up and into him. The contact was in the center of the chest. Now we see a foul on Ray Gordon.
Gee, the Tigers racking up the fouls. Simmons has 4. Giddy has 3. Gordon gets his 2nd. Gaze has 2.
And Bruce Palmer's getting some important minutes from Cecil Exum. I said at the top of the program, he needs to play 10, 15 minutes out there to give his rotation some resting. Bruce Palmer next to him, David Graham on the bench.
Cecil Exum to level the scores. 53 each. 1:37 left to halftime.
Exum pressing up Whitehead. Whitehead gets through it, but Melbourne delayed into their offense. Took nearly the full 10 seconds to get across the half-court line.
Whitehead around him. Well, the Giants there in numbers, but given straight away to that man Gaze, but it's blocked by Borner. Ray Borner. Gaze getting back there, of course. He fouls.
Ray Borner showing him rockets in his heels, picks up the pass, and then challenges Gaze on the dribble. There's Gaze trying to get the ball. Borner wisely sharing, and then he'll spill into the referee and the cameraman. So Ray Borner was taking them all on. The television, the oppositions, and the referees all in one play.
Well, honestly, I saw Ray Borner just before the game, and he looked as though he wasn't fit to walk the length of the court, let alone play a game of basketball. How well's he going? He's shown everything.
Adrenaline's cured more than a few cases of a cold. Question is how he'll back up. He seems to be puffing a lot. He may have difficulty backing up after halftime, and doesn't capitalize on all his good work as he missed both ends of that 2 foul shot situation. 1 minute to go before halftime.
53 each.
Oh dear.
Pass given away by Colbert.
Somebody read the wrong signals out there. Scores tied, 53 apiece. Ray Borner getting the rest.
Well played by the Australian centre. Now up come the Giants to break this deadlock. Fisher back to leader, working it around well. Maley again back to leader. Maley got clear. Fisher. No, didn't hit anything that time, Scott Fisher.
Good work by Colbert to jump out, just catch Fisher's eye, I think. He didn't get the ball, but Fisher might have just hesitated a little bit on his shot.
Chance for the Tigers to lead at halftime. 16 on the shot clock, 26 on the game clock.
10-second warning buzzer.
Got to get a shot away, Andrew Gaze. Back to Whitehead. 3 seconds left. Great play by Whitehead, but he shot a bit firm. And now a chance for the Giants to lead at halftime. It's 53 each. Reedy to Exum. Fisher says it's mine, but it's not. Colbert slaps it out of there. Timeout. It's all tied up at halftime at the Glasshouse. The game between 4th and 5th on the ladder. 53 each at halftime. Can't be any closer. During the first period, the Tigers trailed by 10, but at halftime, it's 53 each. Gaze has 21 to halftime and Colbert 18, but really they only have the 2 scorers. And for the Giants, Fisher 15, just 2 in the second period, Leader 13, and Warner 10.
It's interesting there, too, because Andrew Gaze got 13 points in the second quarter, Dave Colbert 10. So that's really how they've revitalized that 10-point deficit they had in the first quarter. That's kicked them back in. But you've got to question how long they can do that without David Simmons becoming an active offensive participant and nobody else, no other X factors emerging. Whitehead and Gordon have been relatively quiet as well. I think particularly if the game tempo picks up, because it's been somewhat dour offensively so far, if that game tempo picks up, Melbourne will have to find another scoring outlet. It'll be in all sorts of trouble.
Okay, so the job perhaps ahead of the Tigers with Dave Simmons in that foul trouble, picking up 4 fouls in the first half of the action. Let's take a look at this week's Nike coaching tip.
This coaching tip is proudly brought to you by Nike.
No minutes at all in the opening half. 3-on-1 break. This will test Johnson, even if he's fully fit. Then goes Grace, makes the basket.
Hi, I'm Ricky Grace, and I'm standing here with Rory Parks from Our Lady of Grace Primary School. Today we're going to talk about dribbling the ball from coast to coast. Now they call it coast to coast because I'll take off from one end of the court to the other end of the court, and that consists of calling it coast to coast. What I'll do, I'll either get the rebound myself or one of the big guys will get the rebound. They'll pass me the ball at this end of the court. Now, I'll have a defender on me, and I'll dribble down the court. I'll be looking for an open man. If I see an open man down the court, well, I'll pass it to him for the easy layup. If I don't see anyone for an easy layup, I'll continue to dribble the ball without stopping, and I'll take it all the way in for an easy layup. That's taking it from one end of the court to the other, which is called coast to coast.
So no minutes at all in the opening half. 3-on-1 break. This will test Johnson, even if he's fully fit. Then goes Grace, makes the basket. This game in danger of blowing wide open. Well, it almost has. 21 points.
This coaching tip was proudly brought to you by Nike.
Second half gets underway. Giants first with it, Marty Clark.
Simmons still matched up on Fisher. Stay in the man-to-man. No, they're in a zone.
Maley. Here's Simmons. Away to Gaze. He waits for support. Dave Simmons. Yes. His first field goal.
Good sign. They went right to them, came down. It looked like a play that purposely was to get Simmons into the offensive activity. Gaze tries to pinch it, but Warner's wise to it. Still nothing venture, nothing gained. Certainly nothing was lost by Gaze gambling that time as the Giants couldn't capitalize.
Crowd starting to yell now. Fisher lays that one up to level the scores again.
Fisher, who had 13 points in the first quarter, got only 2 in the second to make his total 15, now has 17. Giddy with a 15-footer. And no defensive man with inside, and that's one of the real flaws of Warwick Giddy, who's a real blue-collar defensive worker. Fisher, better noted shooter than Giddy, gets the ball back. Ray Warner still keeping it alive and scores.
Tough play by Ray Warner. Doing a great job. Gaze. Gordon comes backwards to Simmons.
Simmons and Colbert, their 2 biggest players, out in the three-point arc. And remaining out there as we see a 2-man game between Simmons and Colbert. Colbert tries a 3, falls short. Giddy collects the rebound. Good body position inside. And is rewarded with 2 points.
57 each. Scores level again. Scott Fisher. Colbert tries to slap it away. Giddy as well.
North Melbourne doing an excellent job on the offensive glass. They're getting second shots fairly consistently as Leader tries to spill down to the baseline but can't. Bailey misses an 18-footer, gets it back. Another. You just can't give a team that many second shots, Drew. They're bound to hit one. Teams in this league shoot usually above 45%. So you give them 2 shots, the odds are very, very good that they're going to hit one of them.
Well, the Giants out rebounding the Tigers 27-17. And there was no desperation from the Tigers that time when the ball came back into court.
10-second warning buzzer again. The Tigers don't really seem to have much set up. Simmons dishes to Giddy. Shooting clock down to 2. He has to shoot. Simmons gets it away, beating the buzzer. No doubt it'll be the Giants' ball. Definitely was Simmons just beat the expiry of the 10-second buzzer. Referee perhaps was unsure what the buzzer was about.
30-second clock went down there.
So Leader now directing traffic. Mark Leader, a veteran, a 197-game veteran. He'll play his 200th game before this year's out. Fisher inside, matched up against Giddy. Great strength, Scott Fisher. And Melbourne bench complaining that he might have used a little bit too much strength, but they've been letting it go pretty well inside so far.
Simmons. Warner putting the pressure on. Simmons shot missing. Fisher. Giants leading by 4 at the moment. Maley. Leader up very high. Gay showing some desperation this time.
That'll be a foul on Andrew Gaze, no doubt about that. Andrew Gaze is pushing off Marty Clark in the race to the ball. And it's picked up by the trail official, Eddie Crouch. So the Tigers lose possession of the ball, and Andrew Gaze picking up his 4th foul. So diabolical foul trouble for the Tigers. Two of their 3 strike men, Gaze and Colbert, in big foul trouble.
Clark seems to have recovered. Back to Maley. This time the Tigers have the numbers there. Colbert to Gaze. 61-57, the Giants lead.
Leader, as he has all night long, is the one who's been tagging Gaze. Colbert cut off well by Maley that time. Tiger offense very hesitant when we see them throw away the ball. In fact, I don't think the offense has cooperated real smoothly for either team. But the drive and dish game has certainly worked better for the Giants than it has the Tigers as Leaders fouled that way. Giddy now on 4 fouls. We've got Giddy on 4, Gaze on 4, Simmons on 4. See Giddy getting up and into Leader after he'd left the ground. So really, this game is open in a very lackluster fashion in the second half, Drew. The offense isn't operating, as I said, smoothly for either team, but North Melbourne has been capitalizing on getting a number of second shots, missing and getting the rebound, missing again, and often getting 3 attempts and eventually scoring.
Giants 9-4 in this 3rd period to lead 62-57. Gordon almost lost it. Gaze 21 points to half-time. Whitehead. Corner playing a top game. Big ball. Fisher.
Whitehead blocked it, but Fisher gets it back again and is fouled. Nearly gets the basket as well. Another example of that strength of the Giants around the glass, getting second shots. Fisher here, I think you'll find Whitehead blocks the shot. Fisher stays with it, gets it back. The ball's out of his hand, so that's not called a jump ball. If he had come down with the head, kept the ball in his hand the whole way and landed with it, then it would have been a travel.
One left for Scott Fisher. Giants by 5. And now by 6.
Fisher now with 20.
Scott Fisher.
Really get feeling this is a crucial point in the game for the Tigers. Their offense really hasn't produced anything since the start of the second half. They need to get a score here. I think they need to find the key that's going to unlock the defense of the Giants. How are they going to attack it? Colbert now goes to the basket, stop, prop, off bounds, great shot. I think he changed his minds about 3 times after leaving the ground as to whether he was going to shoot or pass. Eventually banking it off the backboard. Borner running Lehan, and his foul.
And the Giants call on the foul. Fouls on 33 and Steve Whitehead.
Stephen Whitehead picking up that foul. The foul counts now. We'll see Borner driving on his left hand, Whitehead getting in there. Foul's called with the body, and Borner will get 2 foul shots.
Ray Borner with 14 for the night, and the Giants have skipped away to a lead of 6. .45 left in the third period, and the big guns for the Tigers, Gaze and Simmons, have got to somehow see if they can get to three-quarter time without any more fouls. Gaze goes for that, misses. Colbert. Borner playing a great game, out to leader. Scott Fisher with time. Whitehead to Gaze.
The NBL 3-point shootout champion has hit 1 in this game. At that time, Gaze driving through the lane and has given a bump for his efforts from Mark Leader, and Leader picks up his second foul. Only the first foul on the Giants. The Tigers already have 4 and are in the penalty situation. Gaze behind his back, going to the basket. Blocking foul called as well. That was a tremendous move. You almost get blasé about Andrew Gaze. As I said, he's all arms and legs. But really, you analyze what he does. Behind the back dribble, which we missed. There's the foul. He continues moving, weaving between players. Rode the bump, made the basket, gets the foul shot. And in the process, I might add, has brought up his 23rd point.
Just a fantastic player. It looks like winning the MVP for the league this year. Amongst all the other things he's done, he's never done before. 65-62, Tigers within 3. Gordon on Clark. Maley. Leader to Marty Clark. 10-second buzzer. Gordon almost dispossesses Borner. Fisher misses twice. Colbert for the Tigers.
And again, another second effort. Lob pass to Simmons! Oh, what a great play that was. Andrew Gaze read that from a long, long way. That's the lob pass. Simmons slipping behind the defense and then going over the top of everybody.
Well, they did it the last time they met in week 6. We showed it in our opening titles, and it was just about an action replay. Point the difference. Giants leading. Block shot by Whitehead.
Whitehead becoming an intimidator in there. Fisher down the baselines, cut off nicely by Colbert. Ends up throwing away the ball. Good defensive rotation by the Tigers. They're now back into the game, 1 point down, 65-64. And they're looking a lot better. As it's saying so, I put the mockers on Gordon, who threw it away. Clark gets the breakaway lane, and the tip-in goes to Leader. Really wasn't a tip-in as much as it was a tip down.
67-64. Whitehead to Gordon. Ray Gordon very disappointed with himself, giving that last pass away. Simmons surrounded. Makes it. Big Dave Simmons.
Simmons now with 9 points, 6 in this quarter with 4 minutes and 30 seconds to go. Turnover count relatively high for both teams, 15 to 12. Those are the sort of numbers you'd like to post at the end of the game, not 2/3 of the way through it.
Fisher takes a rest for the Giants. Giants leading by just 1. Clark. Yes. Oh, top shot by Marty Clark. He's done the point guard duty all season in the absence of David Graham. Gaze again. Oh, look at that. To prove the last one was no fluke.
Just don't know how he gets that space between people all the time.
The Tigers local purchase in for Ray Gordon. And for the Giants,
Nigel Purchase into the lineup. Gordon getting a rest. Also getting a rest is Mark Leader and Cecil Exum coming into the lineup. Leader, good game for him, 16 points. And has showed good court leadership. He and Martin Clark sometimes share that duty of the point guard position, setting up plays. Gaze picks that one off, right at a mile away. Exum tries to make up for his mistake, but can't catch up in time.
And the Tigers have hit the front after the Giants skipped away to a 6 or 7 point lead earlier in this quarter. 70-69, Melbourne lead. Exum drives to the basket. Foul in there on Purchase.
Nigel Purchase called with the foul, you're right. His second. You see it here. Exum just beating him to the baseline. There's the hand downstairs. That really wasn't any contact that we can see, but it looked like from the way that Exum's body moved that Purchase might have given him a little hip as he went up. Exum seemed to twist there. That wasn't a motion of his own volition.
That one levels the scores. He can split them again with this one. Nice helicopter landing pad.
Yes.
Giants 71, Tigers 70. 3:35 left in the third quarter. Gaze across to Purchase.
Reedy now picking up Gaze.
Whitehead for three. Well, Stephen Whitehead really stamping his pass on this game.
Well, we're seeing something now that the more avenues to attack from Tigers after a very, very ordinary opening in the second half, the first 4 minutes, didn't look like they knew where any baskets were come from. But the Giant defense, I think, a little bit has loosened up, and Melbourne's trying to take advantage of that.
3 minutes left. They've got to get a shot away, the Giants. 7 seconds on the clock. Maley misses.
Porter spilled into the back of Dave Simmons, so he picks up another foul. That's his 4th, so he's the only Giant in any sort of foul trouble. He's got 4, and the rest have 2 or less.
Substitution Giants. Fisher and Leader
Leader, Bruce Palmer, as he does, rotating his starters in and out, making sure that they're rested. He does that even going into the last quarter, but he'll end up with his studs on the floor for the last 5 minutes of the game.
Dave Simmons.
Simmons really wants to drive. Exum hammered the ball away, loose on the floor. Fisher did well not to pick it up, just to protect it so he didn't travel. Clark is fouled going in the basket. Good hustle by Exum. Simmons just had the ball in his hands a little bit too long that time. And the more he tried to do something with it, the more he looked like he was going to lose it.
Dave Colvin sits down. Steve Leonardo comes back in.
Stephen Whitehead picking up that foul. As I said, that was keyed by Fisher, getting on the ground. He risked travel if he picked up the ball as he was sliding along, so he just protected it and shuttled it out.
Good morning.
I'll take that back. That last foul was on Nigel Purchase.
Back to a 1-point game. Tigers lead it. Just under 2.5 minutes to go. Whitehead.
10 seconds. They did not get the ball across half court in 10 seconds. They had taken 11 seconds, and they probably had another second to go before they're going to get across. Good defense from the Giants.
Be a vital turnover then. Reedy giving good movement.
Charge, yes, right straight in the middle of the chest. Pat Reedy really using the ball too much. He needs to whip the ball around. That wasn't an opportunity to go one-on-one that time. We see him here. Whitehead's just moving with him. He's not encroaching at all on Reedy's path. In fact, it's Reedy that tries to turn the corner going down, and it really wasn't the time to be doing one-on-one. There were plenty of defensive players. Gaze, long to Simmons, it works again. Wasn't quite as beautiful as the last one, but it has the same effect.
Maguire scored earlier on. He's now in double figures, has 11. 75 to 72. Exum rolls around and doesn't go, but Fisher makes it go.
Another offensive rebound in the final analysis if North Melbourne goes on to win. We might remember the scores they got from second and third shots in the third quarter. Whitehead now.
Giants still leading by 10 in rebounds, 32-22. Whitehead moving well into Simmons. Purchase robbed of the ball. Comes to Gaze. A long three-pointer. Oh, Dad was happy with that.
Now with 31 points.
Yes, we needed stewardesses and a flight crew on that one. It traveled so far. Fisher now wanting to clear out the players. Leader to the foul line. Off balance, gets it to Fisher. Fisher looking inside, cut off, nearly double team. Opportunities away on the weak side. Reedy, but he kicks it straight to Gaze instead of Martin Clark. Gaze now probing, another three-pointer. Yes! 34 points to Andrew Gaze. Two of the sweetest three-pointers you've seen right in a row.
35 seconds left of three-quarter time. Gets set for a half-century by Gaze tonight. Leader dispossessed. Tigers have it again. They lead already by 7. Comes to Simmons. He calls it off with 24 seconds left.
Simmons wisely looking up at the clock, realizing they can work for a last shot.
This has been something like a 13-point turnaround. They were 6 behind and now lead by 7.
They looked dead buried in the first 4 minutes, the Tigers. They really didn't have anything going for them, but they're energized now. Purchase with a 16-footer. Doesn't go. Lenardon, loose ball.
Three-quarter time at the Glasshouse. Lindsay Gaze happy with the effort eventually. Tigers 81, Giants 74. Well, from 6 points behind to lead by 7, the Tigers in that period. 81 to 74. Gaze has 34, Colbert 20, Simmons 11. For the Giants, Fisher 22, Leader 16, and Borner 14.
It really was a bigger turnaround, too, because Melbourne, the first 4 minutes, really looked like they were just going down the tubes that quickly. They had no spark. North Melbourne was pounding them on the boards as they continued to do, but Melbourne in the latter part of that third quarter really picked up a couple of giant threes from Andrew Gaze. It was a great help indeed.
Gaze got 13 points in that second period, as he did in the third period, as he did in the second.
Simmons still not finding great form, although he did perk up a little bit with 8 points in the third quarter after scoring 3 in the first part of the game. Whitehead picking up the foul. Mark Leader seeing the opportunity to come straight down the lane. You can see Leader, look, he spot that opening, pushes the ball in front of him, there's Whitehead on his arm.
Giants raffle tonight, 5-3-9-0.
Whitehead with 3 fouls and Leader with 2 foul shots.
It was social club after the game.
Well, we saw the Melbourne Tigers run down last week by the Perth Wildcats after the Tigers had led by 11 at three-quarter time. And the Giants won't lie down. It's never over until the final buzzer, and the margin's back to 4 now. Colbert's made 4 three-pointers in the game, so has Andrew Gaze. Colbert goes for 2. Nope. Leader met by Gaze, but Leader straight past him. Good movement of the ball. Fisher baseline drive. Straight under the basket he went.
Up in the air with nowhere to go that time. It's a rather hopeful pass back into the court, but they ended up getting it back as the Tigers touched it last, forced it to go out of bounds. 13 seconds to shoot. Maley. I think that'll be a foul again on Whitehead. Bumped him at the start of the dribble.
Another foul.
He is the 4th Tiger on 4 fouls.
Interesting if we could see that again. It appeared that the contact may have occurred before the shot. But referee Eddie Crouch has judged that it was a shooting foul. So we'll see Paul Maley on the line with 2 foul shots. Stephen Whitehead, 4th player on the Tigers with 4 fouls. See this replay there. Maley Well, I would say that probably had started his shooting action.
Tigers haven't scored in this quarter. Giants have scored 5. Gaze, another three-pointer. Oh, well done by Maley to muscle it away from Colbert. Maley lost it. Fisher behind him gets it. And Gaze gets in there for the foul. That's 5 for Andrew Gaze.
Yes, well, the Giants weren't exactly giving you a clinic in clean ball handling, but they got the result nearly as good as a basket. And Andrew Gaze picking up his 5th foul. One more, and he's got a rest for the rest of the evening. Inside to Borner, tries a fadeaway off glass. And the scores are tied, 81s apiece, and we've got 10 minutes left in the game.
7-0 in this quarter by the Giants. And Andrew Gaze on 5 personals.
Giants have upped the defensive tempo, as we saw Perth do with Melbourne last week. Gaze gets in there, very dangerous. Player spills over, charge could be called. But he was pretty well under control that time, bringing up his 36th point. Whitehead now with 5 fouls. The foul count continues. See Fisher down the line there, cuts between the two, dishes off. There's Marty Clark. Stephen Whitehead reaching out of the vertical. If he just held his position, it would have been a tough shot for Clark, who had lost his balance.
Gee, could this be another heartache for the Tigers, as last week was, when the top team, Perth Wildcats, ran them down and beat them with 3 seconds left on the clock. The scores are level here again. 9.5 minutes to go in the game.
Look at Scott Fisher working, double teaming. He plays every aspect of the game hard. Simmons, they needed that basket too. They were teetering a bit, and that'll give them a bit of stability, a bit of ballast to go into the last 9 minutes of the game. Music cranked up. Drew, I hope you aren't saying anything. I'm not sure if I would have heard you.
I'll see if my lips move. Here's Maley, comes out to Clark. Simmons back there. The big day of Simmons. He was in foul trouble very early. He had 3 in the first quarter. Crowd yelling for the Giants. They trail by 2, the North Melbourne Giants. Both these teams play all their remaining games prior to the playoffs at the Glasshouse. Well, what a three-point shot that was by Whitehead.
Whitehead now with 11. Fisher with a jam. He's got 26. Great pass from Clark. Just a little shuttle pass. Fisher streaming down in the delayed break formation and jams it. Ray Gordon now coming back in. Timeout from the Glasshouse. 8 minutes and 35 seconds remaining to play in the game. And the Melbourne Tigers clinging to a 3-point lead, 88-85. Giants extending their defense. Melbourne with a 3-point lead. 8.5 minutes to go in the game. And there's no doubt that the Giants have thrown down the defensive gauntlet that was successful. Whitehead goes backdoors. Been stunning the master, Andrew Gaze, and Gordon gets the pass to him. Whitehead with 13.
5-point lead to the Tigers. So this game has been going in fits and starts. Leader for 3, way short. Fisher.
Good pass.
Yep. Call it a pass. A pass. 90-87.
Scott Fisher with 28, right on his season average of, well, just 2 under. He averaging 30 this year. Very consistent performer. Tigers now looking to set up their offense. Colbert trying to be isolated inside. They can't get it to him on the first attempt. It goes in now. Fade away over Maley. Doesn't find the middle of the ring, and Simmons can't control the rebound. Quickly, the Giants into a fast break attack. Only 2 Tigers back, but luckily Andrew Gaze got his hand on the ball as far as the Tigers are concerned, because Maley had nothing but path in front of him going to the basket if he could have caught the pass.
This crowd really coming alive now. Game up for grabs. Gordon to Gaze. Gaze one out with Clark. fouls.
Hard foul, Martin Clark. He wasn't going to give Andrew Gaze an easy one. That was Simmons sprung the ball loose. Gaze working on Clark, never really being able to get in position. But he'll make Andrew Gaze earn it from the line. Martin Clark, only his second foul. Dave Simmons again came up with that steal as they try to get the ball into Borner. Simmons, as he does, comes around the far side of the player, and it's often unexpected. Gaze, 37 in the game. Another routine outie for the man who's averaging 37 this year. Averaging nearly 36 points a game over his career since 1984. Extraordinary. Foul that time, Maley. Again, an awkward sort of dribble, but it induced the foul on the defense. Ray Gordon's the guilty party. See Maley there, down the baseline. Not quite in control of himself. Ray Gordon coming in there in a motion with his hands. Got it Maley on the arm as he's trying to shoot. Maley with 12 points in the game. Averages 27 points on the season.
Paul Maley, first season with the Giants, played with the Saints last year. 2-point game, 7 minutes 20 left on the clock. Oh, quick transfer of play. Gaze. Well, he's on 5 personals, but he's charging towards a half century, Andrew Gaze. Fisher. Colbert the defensive rebound.
The danger with the extended defense that the Giants been doing is just that. If Andrew Gaze breaks by his man, gets in the open court, he's very, very tough to reel in. He's got more moves than a can of worms as he comes into the middle of the lane. Breathing space for the Tigers. 4-point. Simmons reverse spin, misses it. Simmons follows in, and he's fouled from behind as he tries to tap that back in. One of the more rare aspects of the Tigers in this game has been their offensive rebounds, but that was a good one and an important one with 6 minutes and 46 seconds remaining to play, and Melbourne sitting on a 4-point bulge. Simmons now with 14.
Well, it was sort of doubtful that we'd see Big Dave Simmons still here in the last quarter after the way he started with his fouls. But he's starting to take some effect now. Maley for 3. Hey, Colbert, another big defensive rebound.
Really need that shot to go down from Paul Maley. They haven't been able to get too many baskets close in the second half to establish a strong perimeter game. Whitehead thinks about it. Briefly, Simmons strong drive, dishes to Gordon. Plenty of contact in there. I think Gordon took his eyes off the ring. Leader now into the open court. Nice dish inside to Fisher. Fisher misses. Colbert intimidated. Ball back out to Gordon. Gaze. Tigers on a 6-point lead. Gaze with a 3. Tigers now on a 9-point lead. And Andrew Gaze has 42. He scored 43 the last time these two met. This is confidence. Not many players in the league will dribble down off a fast break, stop, pop, nail a 3. Timeout to Glasshouse. Half a quarter to go. Melbourne leads 98 to North Melbourne 89.
Giants ball. 98 to 89. It's a 9-point lead to the Tigers after Gaze's sensational 3-pointer. 42 points in the game for Andrew Gaze. Gordon with a hand to that. Fisher dishes away to Reedy. Back to Fisher. Giants need to be pretty good to come back from here. Leader off the glass for 2.
18 points to Mark Leader. Good game from him. Again, that extended defense from the Giants.
Various times the Giants have looked certainties, and at other times the Tigers have run away from them. And that 9-point break was a large lead midway through the last quarter for the Tigers. Dave Simmons. It's back to 9. 100 plays 91.
It'll be tough. Big ask now for North Melbourne to get back. Leader with the 3. That gets a way back, but he misses it. Now they can't control the ball underneath, whereas early in the third quarter they were getting all those second shots. Whitehead now. Gaze with the ball. Reedy's got the task on him. Gaze deterred by some gold shirts in his way. Colbert fade away from 17, doesn't buy it. Good rebound triangle. Borner can't hold it. Gaze with a long three. Colbert in there fighting. It's tipped out of bounds by Ray Borner. Ray Borner hardly done by, I think, by Dave Colbert, Dave Simmons in that rebound situation. Melbourne still with the ball.
4 minutes 40 left in the game. Colbert for three. Rattled it, didn't go. Fisher. Bit of urgency now from the North Melbourne Giants. Reedy. Long way out. He goes to Fisher, who gets past Whitehead. Back to Reedy. Three-point attempt. Clean as a whistle.
Reedy with 5. Hasn't scored since the second quarter. That was a big three-pointer. 6 points the difference. 194. 4 minutes and 10 seconds, and we've got a foul away from the ball. Reedy holding Gaze as he cut through the key. But North Melbourne not yet in the penalty situation, so no foul shots.
Tigers ball. Colbert. How did he get clear? The shot wasn't too good. Corner finds Maley. Paul Maley on a big run.
Clever defense that time by Ray Gordon. Had no chance to get Maley's path, but as Maley went by, came away around him very quickly from behind, spiked away the ball. A lot of times that draws the foul, but that was a clean effort from Ray Gordon. Tigers back in their zone defense. Borner gets inside, and they've been missing targets close to the basket. Simmons loses it. Fisher gets it back. Three-pointer, yes!
What a huge play that was for the Giants. The margin back to 3. Gaze has it. Back to Whitehead.
Two players walking up the floor now, too. Tiredness becoming a factor as we see a foot violation. And Melbourne will get a new 30-second clock. 3 minutes and 34 seconds remaining to play. Melbourne has 5 team fouls, so they're in the penalty situation. North Melbourne only on 3. They've got one more penalty to give, one more foul to give. Colbert forcing defense there. Spilling over Borner. Colbert gets the charge. And North Melbourne probably needs a timeout here to settle down a little bit. And they have called one. You'll see it there. Borner, contact, middle of the chest. He previously established defensive position. Timeout from the Glasshouse. 3 minutes and 25 seconds remaining to play. Melbourne 100, North Melbourne 97.
Down in the home stretch. This is where the Tigers lost it last week to Perth, when Perth got up to win by a point. Can they hang on this time? They lead by 3 with 3 minutes 20 left on the clock. Maley comes back to leader. Across to Reedy. Three-point attempt. No. Working the clock down. Maley. Oh, in and out. Fisher. A one-point game. 3 minutes left.
33 points to Fisher. Another offensive rebound to North Melbourne. The double team at half court. Ray Gordon can't apply the punishments. In fact, he's given him a gift.
Oh, that could cost them the lead. Maley for 3.
Paul Maley been missing from the distance, but he found the middle of the basket that time, giving his team a 2-point lead. Gaze along the baseline, fouled, so the Tigers can tighten it up and have a chance to go by 1. This is a repeat of the Perth-Melbourne game we saw last week. Lob pass into Gaze, another good pass from Colbert. There's the foul on the arm by Ray Borner. 2 points count. 5th foul on Borner. Gaze with a chance to give his team a 1-point lead.
That's 45 points to Andrew Gaze. Tigers lead by a point, 103 to 102. They led by 9 earlier this quarter. Oh, Maley, clever play. Fisher underneath. Giants lead by a point. What a game!
It was a tremendous play by Maley to avoid the defense and whip the ball to Fisher, who was open on the baseline. Turnover. Maley caused that one as Colbert couldn't handle the ball. Fisher dishes the leader, who loses control of the ball Fisher taps it in. He's got 37, and the Giants have a 3-point lead with 1:45 remaining to play.
Now it's going to be tough for the Tigers. It looked tough for the Giants not 3 minutes ago.
Well, they need to run something. The 3-point option from Gaze is quite a good one. Scores tied up, 106 apiece. Gaze has 48.
What a game, Maley.
Dave Simmons picks up that one. He's got a long time without a foul. Had 3 in the first quarter, and that's his 5th. And on the line will be Paul Maley with 2 foul shots, a chance to put his team up by 2. Scores tied, 106 apiece.
Last week, Perth Wildcats coach Murray Arnold made the quote of the season when he said, if you didn't find that exciting, you'd be a corpse. Well, I think exactly the same applies here tonight. 108 to 106. The Giants have it. But Gaze has the ball. And the 3-point demon, oh, he's at 7 3-pointers, Gaze. Now they've lost it. Maley for the Giants, 1:15 left. Reedy. Fisher with space. Goes to the basket. Draws the foul.
Ray Gordon picking up that foul. Fisher was actually going in for a slam, but I don't think his fingers were quite long enough on that one. Good fake. Fisher got the defense out on him. There he goes up with the muscle in. Hard to pick where the contact was as Ray Gordon had a swish at the ball. Fisher now with a chance. 1:09 remaining to play. His team's leading by 2. And he's got 2 foul shots. Ooh, that 3-point margin. If he makes the next one, that's Andrew Gaze material, that.
And Gaze is on 48 personal points at the moment. Fisher gives the Giants a 3-point lead, just over a minute to go. Here's the danger man for the Giants, Andrew Gaze. Remarkable that nobody's fouled out. Colbert, yes! The scores are level again, under a minute left. Boy, who's going to win this? Fisher.
Fisher traveled.
And the travel is called.
No doubt switched his feet so the Tigers have a chance to go up. And we've got a timeout, and everybody needs a breather. 39 seconds remaining to play. The scores are deadlocked, 109 points apiece. Oh dear, oh dear. That was a turnover to Scott Fisher. I suppose in the scheme of things that might be remembered, but you can't forget his contribution of 38 points. He's been the man all the time to cut them back in. And the task is still in front of the Tigers. They've got a score here to break the deadlock. Let's listen in on Lindsay Gaze.
All the way through the court. Don't worry about posting up the ice. The team out's going to screen the postman.
We can't hear what he's saying in there, but he's obviously setting the offensive pattern. Both coaches will be doing 2 things. Maybe setting with their offense and their defense. Bruce Palmer's task is a little bit different because he's got to decide what he's going to do if Melbourne scores, what he's going to do if Melbourne doesn't score. So, and that in the context of this game, when the blood is rushing in the players' ears, sometimes it's a little difficult to get your plans well laid out there. The coaches are fine. The players sometimes don't hear the whole scheme.
Find it pretty hard to make yourself heard over the music and the crowd noise. What about the 2 superstars in this game? Fisher, not only 38 points, but 16 big rebounds. And Andrew Gaze has 48 points.
Fisher has 16 points in this quarter, and Gaze has 40.
Gaze brings it up for the Tigers. 33 seconds left in the game. Scores level. Will we get overtime?
A turnover could decide the game. Gaze looking at the clock, plenty of time left. They got there's quite a differential of 8 seconds between the 30-second clock is not moving. 17 seconds. I don't know what they're going to do. Clearly there should have been timeout. The referees are going on with it. 30-second clock is finished. Simmons scores.
But the Giants have it with time left. Lido, 3 seconds, 1 second. He's robbed of it. Pat Reedy, Andrew Gaze with the steal, and the Tigers have won it by 2 points. Look at Andrew Gaze. What a victory for the Tigers. What a game of basketball at the Glasshouse.
On an absolute thrilling here at the Glasshouse this evening. The Tigers have 111, the Giants have 109. 38 points to Scott Fisher.
What a relief for the Tigers last week after losing that heartbreaker to Perth. Still a question on the score bench. There's no doubt that the 30-second clock wasn't operating. It should have been. Melbourne used a long time in the scheme of things in getting that shot off.
Well, the Tigers are leaving the court victorious. Ray Borner and some of the Giants still arguing the toss. The crowd stunned. And what a stunning game of basketball anyway. Look at Bruce Palmer.
We'll go to a timeout here from the Glasshouse. We'll return if anything exciting happens as they're still querying the use of the 30-second clock. As it stands now, Melbourne have won 111 to 109 on a shot from David Simmons.
Well, fully 5 minutes after full time, referees Eddie Crouch and Jeff Weeks speaking with my co-commentator Bill Palmer, who's also the general manager of the NBL, as to what's going to happen here. The Giants are all on the court. The Tigers have gone back to their rooms, but the Giants reckon that the end of this game has to be replayed, because at one stage there was 39.9 seconds left on the game clock, but the shot clock didn't work. At that stage, the Tigers made a 2-pointer, and they claim they've won the game. Lindsay Gaze is coming back into the stadium, but I think it'll take a lot to get the Tigers players back on the court, even though the Giants are still out there. Remarkable scenes here at the Glasshouse. We've had full time. The Tigers have won it by 2 points, but the Giants aren't prepared to take that at this stage.
I don't believe we can change the situation. I've asked them, they're pressing the buzzer. Hey, no, don't buy into him, I'm just asking. And the point is, what do we do?
Well, that looks like it from senior referee Eddie Crouch. He's told Bruce Palmer that there's not much that they can do to change what happened in the last 39.9 seconds. He said, if you want to protest it, well, that's up to you. But there's lots of arguing going on here at the moment. And Bill Palmer, my co-commentator and general manager, is getting involved. But now the Giants have left the court here, and that looks as though North Melbourne have accepted for the time being what's happened here, and that is a 2-point win to the Melbourne Tigers. A controversial finish to what has been a sensational game at the Glasshouse. The scoreboard shows 111 to 109, but I wonder whether we'll hear any more about it during the week. Bill, you've got your microphone back on. Pretty tough call you had there.
Well, the difficulty, it wasn't my call at all. The difficulty is it a correctable error that's described by the rules? There's no doubt that the 30-second clock stopped. However, both teams were equally disadvantaged, and then the rules describe some things that you can fix up in that situation, some things you can't. This didn't fall under it. The question you ask the referees, is it a correctable error? If they make the decision that it isn't, the result stands.
Was there much that could have changed in the game if that hadn't happened?
Well, the other option was to reset the game at the 39-second mark and replay the whole thing.
All right, I think Bruce Palmer's tapping you on the shoulder. He wants to see you after the game. So maybe we haven't heard the last of this, but what a sensational finish here at the Glasshouse.
It is.
Good luck, Bill, in your role as GM. So once again, the final score, Tigers 111 to the Giants 109. In a controversial finish, the Tigers 111 to the Giants 109. Gaze got 48, Colbert 23 and Simmons 19. And for the Giants, Fisher got 38 and Leader and Maley 19. Well, what a fluctuating game it was with that controversial finish. A remarkable game here at the Glasshouse in front of a packed house. And it took the Giants, I suppose, a full 10 minutes to leave the court while they disputed the result of the game. We didn't see the reappearance of the Tigers. And so I think the result will stand. The Tigers victorious here in the battle between 4th and 5th on the NBL ladder. Hope you've enjoyed it. You couldn't help but enjoy that one.
The Perth Wildcats got out of jail against the Illawarra Hawks at Wollongong on Friday night, winning the match by just 1 point. Ricky Grace was MVP for the Wildcats with 33 points, while Patrick Airfares scored 40 for the Hawks. In another NBL nail-biter, this time at the Glasshouse, the Melbourne Tigers defeated the North Melbourne Giants in controversial fashion by just 2 points. Andrew Gaze scored a game-high of 48 points to share the MVP award with Scott Fisher. At the arena in Geelong, the Supercats maintained their surge to the playoffs with a strong 9-point win over Adelaide. Shane Hill was the player of the night with a game-high of 26. On Saturday night, the Sydney Kings were at home to the Canberra Cannons and they proved to be way too strong, winning by 11 points. Dwayne McLean returned to form with a game-high of 34 points and that was good news for the Kings. The Adelaide 36ers came back from Friday night's defeat to Geelong to score a solid 128-114 win over the Southern Melbourne Saints. Butch Hayes was the star for the Sixers with 26 points, while Greg Stokes was impressive for the Saints with 34 points. The Perth Wildcats travelled to Newcastle to take on the NBL cellar dwellers last night, and they met some solid resistance before sneaking home to the tune of 108-99. Tom Wisman doing well now with the Falcons. The brilliant Ricky Grace, MVP again with 30 points, 2 MVP awards for the weekend. And last but not least, the Gold Coast on Friday night just held out the Canberra Cannons in a thriller at Carrara. Moneyman Mike Mitchell established a Rollers Club record with 48 points in an awesome performance. Time now to have a look at the NBL ladder after week 20, and it's the Wildcats still sailing along at the top with 18 wins and 4 losses. The Gold Coast Rollers continue to defy the odds to hold down second position from Geelong, who now have won 10 games straight at home to be the form team leading into the playoffs. The Tigers, Giants and 36ers make up the top 6, with each side just outside on percentages, and you can basically forget the rest.
The slam dunk of the year, presented by Mazda. Unrivaled quality, pure pleasure.
OK, let's have a look at a selection of Mazda slam dunks from weekend 19 in the NBL.
Perth's Tiny Pinder has been in devastating form in recent weeks. He's still one of the NBL's dunk masters.
Slam by Pinder, who has been spectacular. That's his 9th.
Good pass in from Hansen, too.
In Perth's clash against the Melbourne Tigers, there were several great dunks. This one from Andrew Vlahoff. No wonder the NBA Lakers are chasing him.
Vlahoff now with 12. That was a very, very poor pass. You see Vlahoff finishing off his steal, but Giddy just gave that.
And of course, no dunk competition is complete without the man that made the dunk in Australia, James Crawford. He's big, he's mean and he's lean. Bruce Bolden dunks one for each side against the Bullets.
Well, we said at the beginning of the game, the big
And have a look at this for the prayer shot of the NBL season. Bruce Bolden on the buzzer from one end of the court to the other. Unfortunately, the points didn't count because it occurred just a fraction of a second after the hooter.
It went in.
Well, we saw Melbourne's Nigel Purchase pull off a shot that did count at the Brisbane Entertainment Centre, just like that one from Bruce Bolden earlier in the season.